Hey there, everybody. Welcome to Guardian of the Dream 10.2 Guardian Druid Guide. We are going to be going over talent builds for Raid and Mythic Plus, embellishments, we're going to talk stats and all of that fun stuff. I am sitting here on Amir Jasil right now. Of course, we're going to have to start with talking about the new tier first. So when we're talking about the new tier set, things are obviously changing, and the tier set that we're going to be getting is obviously not as good as 10.2, but you're going to want item level, and there are some builds that you can use to play around it. There was a lot of bugs with this one as well, so most of them got fixed, and it's actually looking to be pretty okay. A problem with Bear now is they're just not the god tank that they were last season, right? I think they got over nerfed, and I do expect to see some buffs for them, but the 2 set, rage you spend during Rage of the Sleeper fuel the growth of Dream Thorns, which wreathe you in their protection after Rage of the Sleeper expires, absorbing 25% of the damage dealt to you while the thorns remain, up to X amount per 20 rage spent. Each 40 rage you spend while Rage of the Sleeper is active extends its duration by 1 second at up to 5 seconds, and your Dream Thorns become Blazing Thorns, causing 100% of the damage absorbed to be reflected back at the attacker. So this is all about creating a big absorb by taking damage and reflecting it back. And this is going to promote a more 1-minute build, because we do have a no Incarn build that I'm starting to like more and more. So let's talk about that one. Let's talk about the no Incarn build first. This is one that I've been kind of testing and moving things around. Now, this one here does opt into Dream of Cenarius. If this is not something that you want to play, you can use this as a flex point, grab an extra survival instincts. You can go into Ursoc's Endurance. Unfortunately, with the nerf to Rage and Blood Frenzy, Thorn of Irons was okay. Like, it wasn't the best talent, but it dealt decent damage, especially for the amount of Iron Furs that you could stack up. If you need to stack up a bunch of Iron Furs to be able to live hits and all that fun stuff with the amount of rage that you could spend, this dealt okay damage for just being a more tanky tank. Unfortunately, that's not going to happen anymore, so I would probably not take that one. Instead, I'd be going with more survival-based traits, but I've been a big fan of Dream of Cenarius since the beginning. You can see here that we don't opt into Flashing Claws, but we opt into as many arcane talents as we can. Now, an option that you do have here as well is opting out of Ursoc's Fury and going a second point into Fury of Nature. But I found Ursoc's Fury just gave me that extra little bit of just tankiness for hitting Thrash, hitting Maul, hitting Raze. That just felt really, really fun. You still have Berserk and all the talents associated, but you are not running Incarn with this build. This is basically, we can call this the Las Vegas build, because your bar is going to light up with Galactic Guardian Moonfire procs, Mangle, Raze and Maul. Like, you're gonna have a flashy bar, and honestly, this build is actually pretty fun. I did not think that I would enjoy not playing Incarn as much, but I actually kind of did enjoy it, and it did add a new level, a new style of play into the build that kind of allows you to get the best of both worlds. Aside from that, if you're not looking to play a no Incarn build, I do have this build right here. Now, unfortunately, I do have Incarn. I do have Hibernate because I was getting the Snow Owl thing, so this is definitely a flex point that you can choose to go into whatever you want. You can go, not Heart of the Wild, sorry, but you can go into what you want. Now, again, I run Dream of Cenarius as well. On this one, big fan of this talent. It provides good spot healing. I'll just say that again, but that'll be the last time. But on this build in particular, but if you are not looking to run Dream of Cenarius, you can opt out of it and then take Protector of the Pack out and go one thing out of Honed Instincts and go wherever you want. You can go into Innervate Nature's Vigil if you want. You can grab some more utility. You can grab the things that you kind of want and kind of move around, and it does offer some flex points, which is really, really nice. But for me, this is kind of the base on how I like to go around it. For Raid is pretty simple. You're going to be going into Galactic Guardian. You're going to be going into Heart of the Wild for more Moonfire damage. Rage of the Sleeper, really, really strong. Incarn, still very, very good for Raid. All around, there's nothing too wild to discuss there. But yeah, just do your thing. Go around it. Have fun. We're going to have to talk... we're going to talk Blood Frenzy nerf in particular and how that's going to hit all aspects of gameplay. So Thrash now generates 3 rage each time it deals damage on up to 5 targets. The target cap is too low for this nerf going from uncapped to a hard 5. Now, it did get buffed in smaller target count. So if you're in Mythic Plus and you're just pulling 5 mobs, you're actually going to notice that you're going to have a little bit more rage than you've had in the past. Where this gets really just killed is in those big bear pulls that we were, used to doing for a couple of expansions now. Because you were doing bear pulls in Shadowlands, you were doing bear pulls in Dragonflight. And this really, really does hurt that. And one of the reasons why I actually do like Galactic Guardian and the no Incarn build is the amount of rage that you do get from Galactic Guardian is very noticeable and makes the spec just all around feel better from a moment-to-moment basis instead of going for Incarn and getting the really big feel, because Incarn is going to feel generally worse when you're pulling very, very big because you're like, I have Incarn, let's go, and it's not going to feel as good, and that is very, very unfortunate. Where this just from a pull-to-pull, moment-to-moment basis, like literally you're just going to generally feel tankier. You're going to have Ursoc's Fury that's going to be providing you with some shielding, and you're going to be getting healing based on your Moonfire. So you are really going to want to be focusing on that as well. When we're talking stats, now for stats here, let's go back into bear form here. Not human form, because I do not have 39% haste. You are obviously going to want to be focusing on haste first, getting that to a nice degree to where you like. I like high haste. Up next is versatility, and I obviously use a potion of the versatility pot, get that up nice and high, and of course you can always count your Mark of the Wild for that extra 3%. After that, I would go into Mastery and Critical Strike. Mastery if you're looking for more survivability, Critical Strike if you're looking for more damage. You do get some dodge based on Critical Strike, but really not enough for you to kind of really want to stack it high. You're going to see more of an offensive benefit to Critical Strike than you're going to see a defensive benefit of Critical Strike. Where Mastery, it increases your attack power, so you gain some bonus, but it also increases your maximum health and healing received. And if you're running Dream Scenarius, more Mastery is more healing received, which is really, really nice. So that's something you're going to want. If you're curious about this add-on, it's called True Stat Values, so you can see where you are in your penalties or no penalties, because we are going to be getting a lot of stats with the 39 item level bump this season. Embellishments. So the Toxic Thorns with the armor pat, with the Toxic Thorn patch, pretty much the way to go with how it works. You can, if you're solely a raider, you can go into the rolling Shadowflame Toxic patch, which does provide some good single target. But all in all, you're going to just want to grab, if you just grab the Toxic Thorns and grab a Toxic patch, you're pretty much good to go there. Now up next, Trinkets. So this is going to be fun. Basically, you want to be raiding. Most of these trinkets are actually pretty good for bear. Pip's Emerald Friendship Badge is a nice stat bump. We are going to have to go Feral, and we'll talk about stuff like that here. So the Augury of Primal Flame, really, really good. The Cataclysmic Signet Brand is really good as long as you can upkeep the stacks. So if you are in a scenario where you're constantly dropping combat, this becomes no good. But if you're in a scenario where you are always in combat, pretty good. The Coiled Serpent Idol is actually a fairly good DPS trinket as well. The Bandolier, I've tested this one on PTR and I wasn't too impressed, but it does do okay damage. The Ashes of the Ember Soul, if you play around it, it can be strong, but you do lose haste when, which is the haste on the trinket, and you don't lose as, like, so I would just kind of stay clear of that one unless you really want to play around it. But Farak's Tainted Rageheart is looking to be an incredibly strong defensive trinket that provides offensive benefit. This is one I'm recommending for all tanks. Just go get this one as fast as possible. It's really, really good. Another one that is really, really good, especially just for how busted this cheat death trinket is Prophetic Stone Scales. This is one, go get it, farm it out of Dawn of Infinites, and it's in the first half. Galakron's Fall. This is an insanely good trinket, restoring a buttload of health and giving you a boatload of haste when it procs. It's an all-around just solid trinket. If you're running content where you are just literally never dying, you may want to opt out of this for something more DPS oriented, but that is up to you. Really, Bear is kind of in a down bad position at this point, unfortunately, just due to kind of the over nerfs to how good the response to how good it was in last season. So that's something you are going to have to stop and think about. And a little side note, if you are looking for the new rune bear form, by the way, the world boss Orastor, the Hibernator, Orastor, is actually going to be dropping It's not listed here, but that's where the new mark comes from to be able to get, if we actually look at this model, the new bear form that looks just like this and looks really, really good, and I'm excited for it. So farm up that world boss if that's what you're looking for. I know I've been getting a lot of the forms. Like I just got like the owl and all that fun stuff. I got some owl bears and I'm looking to get more just because the form farming is fun and it's something to do. But yeah, so that's the bear guide for 10.2. Unfortunately, it is not in the best position that it has ever been, especially compared to last season. But bear still remains pretty fun if you're a bear main. You're going to want to be focusing around that 1 minute build of Rage of the Sleeper and really, really leaning into that. But that is what we have for you today. Have yourself a good one, everyone. Happy tanking. Bye.